Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and the 1.16.1 test server is now live, and if you want to test out the features that will be coming to the next update of World of Tanks, unless they prove to be a disaster, you can go and do so from now. Yesterday I talked all about the art of strategy game mode in a video, so I won't be covering that today, but there are still some other really cool things to be able to talk about in today's video. So firstly, the return of Frontline. And interestingly enough, Wargaming are returning Frontline to be a format of only single tier vehicles. In this case, it's going to be only tier 8. Now, of course, I've talked all about this before, and are we creating like a QuickyBaby-ception here right now? Possibly. In a video where I talked about tier 9 and Frontline, predicted that there were going to be tier 9 premium tanks in the game, and evidently, they haven't really been well received, at least in Frontline, and so Wargaming are taking them out once again. Now, undoubtedly, this is a big deal for Wargaming. I truly think that they thought that everyone would at least just take the tier 9s in Frontline, or alternatively that they could be able to sell us more tier 9 premium tanks because of it. Clearly the community didn't enjoy it. Clearly the community didn't play Frontline as much last year, and so Wargaming are trying to have a selling point of taking it back to what should have never happened, i.e. a format of single tier vehicles. So this will be really nice. I'm going to start playing Frontline more because of this, because I will be able to once again just play my premium tanks and make a good amount of credits and not feel that at the end of the battle I'm doing my team a disservice by not playing tier 9 vehicles, which are usually, let's be honest, the Concept 1B or the Kampfpanzer. Apart from this, I have to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed. Apart from Wargaming putting in some, I guess, much needed balancing of some of the several positions that were really hard for the attacking teams to be able to take, that's pretty much it. There's no new features, there's no new anything coming to Frontline. You should check out their dedicated article if you want to see the nitty-gritty details of the positions that are going to be harder to take. Or shall I say, harder to defend. However, in addition to this, they are reducing the amount of time that it takes to capture the first line of defense from 2.5 minutes to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Smoke screens have like a reverse inspire effect, which actually reduces the crew skills of enemy vehicles that are caught within it. That's a huge buff to the smoke screen. And I believe they've also buffed the amount of damage that the artillery barrage combat reserve will deal. And yeah, the real kicker is that Wargaming say, we're sure that these changes will make Frontline even more attractive and allow you to farm a ton of credits. It really makes me question why they would have put tier 9 in the first place. Maybe they just thought that they could push the monetization model of tier 9 premiums at a tier which is not saturated like tier 8 a little bit too far, and realized that they're kind of destroying one of the fan favorite game modes, aka Frontline, because of it. So I guess respect to Wargaming for taking back a stupid decision in the first place. Now I want to talk about something really interesting, and that is new vehicle outlining. And I had no idea that Wargaming were planning something like this, and in my wildest dreams I wouldn't have thought they would be putting it into the game. Long story short, the outlines on enemy vehicles will be customizable, so it also takes into account the terrain that they are behind. As we can see when we're targeting this mouse, now there is a red highlighted section of the rock. This clearly denotes terrain that you aren't able to shoot through, and thus probably shouldn't aim even close to the edge. In addition, we can see that this post box has a dotted texture, which denotes that it is actually penetratable. However, it will reduce the penetration of your shell, and I guess the texture will change if you're loading high explosive anti-tank, as it will show as if it's a complete absorb. This feature is actually really well done, because if you're, for example, aiming behind a box that is penetrable, but you see there's a pillar behind the box that you otherwise couldn't see that isn't penetrable, it will give you a clear advantage by seeing where the pillar exactly is. And so you can have an idea if you're shooting at a very lightly armored tank, you can shoot the dotted area and still be able to go into it. But if you're engaging something like a mouse where every single millimeter of penetration counts, yeah, you're probably not going to be wanting to shoot through even the soft terrain. Or shall I say, obstacles. So this is absolutely ridiculous that they're putting this into the game with the advantage that it will allow you to have, and everybody should be turning it on. The next thing to highlight is that currently, with how ridiculous the skins are getting inside World of Tanks, when you target a mouse, you can see that the gun on top is highlighted, the barrel at the back is highlighted. How is a player meant to realize that that barrel on the back isn't, for example, a fuel tank and you can be able to penetrate it from here? So Wargaming are adding in an ability that you can turn on inside your settings, or a setting I should call it really, where you can make it so that now the outline only actually shows the armor model, and that is a tremendous advantage. Imagine against all of the clutter on top of a tank. And the easiest way to show you will be undoubtedly to show you the new outlining section of the reticle. You can either have standard outlining, which shows all of the bells and whistles of the enemy's funky skin, or a simplified outline, which, wow, it really helps you to be able to see where the weak point is on top of the TVP once again. So I would thoroughly recommend, with the update of 1.16.1, of course, if it goes into the game, which I'm pretty sure it will do, that you turn on this simplified setting. That will allow you to still see all of the funky skins without having to put on only historical or just completely default skins, but to still actually have the advantage against your opponents where all of the clutter doesn't confuse you mentally. You're also able to customize the texture of the penetratable area, even behind boxes, to fill or texture. I would thoroughly recommend you use texture, and for the impenetrable areas, you can either use a texture or you can use fill. Personally, for me, the fill looks better, but if some of you prefer to have the cross lines, which I find a little bit distracting, then you will have the option to do that. Just absolutely massive changes. But it's one thing talking about it and one thing seeing it, so why don't we jump into the art of strategy in the new 7 vs 1 Tanker Edition to go and see what it's all about. So let's have a look at what it's like when I'm coming around this corner, and wow, look at that. We can see the rock is blocking the Kranvang, and we can actually see where there's a penetrable wall also between the Kranvang and myself. Wow, so that really will help you so much when you're shooting through bushes, just to have that clear outline against the enemy tank. It will also let you know when the enemy's about to go round a corner, for example. So we'll have like, well, no, oh wow, that really helps with the ridge line to have the, and to see, did you see how the corner of where the wall was? The small wall and then the building on the left. That was absolutely wild. This is really going to help a lot of people with their marksmanship. I can imagine there's probably going to be a lot of very salty unicorns right now who are probably very unhappy about the fact that it almost feels as if there's going to be a... It's not quite just telling you... Should I get rid of this flamethrower in front of me, by the way? It's not really quite telling you exactly where... It still doesn't tell you about where the weak points are on the enemy vehicles. It's still not going to help people who have got shaky aim, but it's definitely going to help people who don't have, shall we say, tens and tens of thousands of games of knowledge, knowing exactly where those walls are, where the soft walls are, which structures you're going to be able to shoot through and which ones you're not going to be able to shoot through. And also, importantly, when an enemy vehicle is about to get into a safe position. Oh, that's amazing to see the corner there. Good lord, this might be one of the biggest changes in World of Tanks history for just contrast and fidelity. Here's the thing though, I don't really... It seems like such a bizarre thing, because I don't see other FPS games doing this, or maybe they do. It kind of feels as if it's just almost like a cheating overlay that's on it. But you know what, if Wargaming want to do this, for me, if it makes my life easier, I'm okay. The only issue is that while it's going to make my life easier, it's going to make everybody's life a lot easier, right? So you should... I mean, if everybody turns this on, it's undoubtable that people are going to be able to aim their shots better, and they're going to be able to make less mistakes with their shells as well. So every time that happens, you've got to consider the implications that it's going to have on the game. Now, I don't think it's exactly going to destroy World of Tanks, of course, but I also feel like, look at that. That's crazy. Crazy, lads. Just to be able to really see where the rock is through the trees, and then to wait. Oh, beautiful. This'll be a great change. I'm definitely turning this on. It's really going to help me. But I guess I've just got to weigh up. While it's going to help me, it's going to help everyone else as well. But you know what? There are probably people who are already using modifications like this. That's usually Wargaming's motivation for putting things like this in the game. I have no idea about if there is a mod that's already like this out there. And if people have been using something like this, I can tell you, wow, that would be absolutely scary wild. Scary wild if people have already been using modifications like this for the last few years. And so please let me know in the comments down below, is there a modification that's currently like this in the game? I guess the closest thing I can think is the white hitboxes, that you can manage to change tanks to look like. And obviously if you have white hitboxes, that's going to create a lot of contrast around the corner. So unfortunately for the enemy strategist here, it doesn't look like he was able to win in this 1 versus 7 scenario. It's kind of interesting. Did you see how the outline of the 268 there was kind of failing a little bit behind the bush? We'll have to see. I'm sure that's what the test server is for. And unfortunately, I don't have time to really jump on and play for several hours to try and find the little in and outs. I will say that, yeah, it's definitely going to be impactful. And it's such a small change. But considering how much of World of Tanks is about aiming and managing to hit the enemy vehicles, anything that's going to help you to be able to do that will also be very impactful in the game. So unfortunately, the enemy strategist didn't really stand a chance. That's how I feel like the majority of battles are going to go. If you've got 7 okay players, they are always going to beat a single okay player. And the only way the strategist is going to win is if they are significantly better than the average of the enemy team. The next thing to cover, albeit briefly, is the fact that there are more options for you to be able to trade in your tanks. And also Wargaming are getting more generous. They're no longer going to be giving you 50% back. They're going to be giving you 60% back of your purchases. Now, honestly, that starts to really get close to the 85% that a lot of people will be paying for these tanks when there is the 15% gold discount. And so, while I'm not the kind of person who would ever trade in a vehicle, because I hate the idea that I got back less than what I paid for it, I also understand that a lot of people just hate those old premiums that are just lying around in your garage and they're not getting buffed and they're kind of useless. And also the idea of the sunk cost fallacy, that just because you paid 8,000 gold for something 5 years ago and you played it and you enjoyed it, but you're over it and you don't want to play it anymore, why shouldn't you trade it in for like 4,000 gold for a discount off something that might be more interesting now in the current meta? Next, one of the big features of the next patch is that Wargaming are going to have a time-limited chapter added to the battle pass, and they're testing just little ways that it's going to be able to work out, but they haven't revealed what the prize is. Let me tell you what I have been able to find out. Firstly, you can't shift saved progress into the bonus chapter. So don't think that you can finish all of your chapters and then be able to like save up 500 points that you can dump into your bonus chapter. Everyone's going to have to start it from fresh. Next, unless Wargaming change it, it's going to have 10 stages. Kind of sounding like a mission marathon here. Also, the reward for it will be a new tier 8 premium tank. And if you pay for the improved pass, you are going to be able to get a unique style for your premium tank. Yeah, does anyone else think this sounds just like a mission marathon? So what is Wargaming trying to do here? Is Wargaming trying to create mission marathons that you're only able to effectively take part in if you've, I guess, made all of your progress down the rest of the battle pass? That's not actually fair to say, though, because you don't have to have done all of the other 3 chapters to be able to take part in this one. Although, what it does mean is that Wargaming can still release mission marathons while the battle pass is going on. Does that make sense? Because you are going to have to stop your progress for your regular 3 chapters and dump your progress into the bonus chapter if you want to get the tier 8 premium. Whereas previously, when Wargaming released mission marathons during the battle passes, it enabled players to get huge amounts of rewards just by putting a large amount of time into the game for those short periods. Because not only would you be completing the mission marathon, which is happening separately, you'd also be completing the battle pass and getting lots of premium days and lots of all of the goodies that you get from completing the regular battle pass. So the fact that Wargaming now want to have like a bonus chapter, maybe to replace the idea of a mission marathon going on in the game, instead of just adding it as a mission marathon, kind of means that you have to split your efforts between the two ongoing events, aka the battle pass and the idea of there being a bonus chapter. Another thing to mention is that you are going to be able to purchase stages in the bonus chapter, but to be able to do so, you'll have to purchase the premium version of the chapter, which is probably going to end up costing you 2,500 gold, but everything is subject to a price change. So it might end up costing 5,000 to be able to get this bonus chapter, for all I know, and I can only guess. So at this stage, I'm not going to really be talking in great detail about the bonus chapter, and you should stay tuned to the channel for inevitably when it's probably going to be coming up, I'd say towards the end of May. All in all, I'm currently of a split opinion of this. I think it's pretty sad that Wargaming are maybe they aren't intending to do this, but undoubtedly it is going to force you to either decide, do you want to do the mission marathon or do you want to do the battle pass, whereas previously you could do both of them at the same time. And also I have no idea what the cost is going to be. And in addition, I kind of cringe at the idea of having more of these time limited events that you have to be able to grind through. But alternatively, if you've got a lot of gold and you don't have a lot of time, at least you can purchase this one without spending currency in the premium store. So we'll have to just wait and see what the special guest vehicle and the special guest 3D style will be. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for update 1.16.1. I hope you enjoyed my overview and I was able to get you updated on all of the new features, but if you want to, you can go and check out Wargaming's homepage and see the real nitty-gritty about new balancing positions they've added to make Frontline a little bit easier to attack on. And if you want to test out all of the features yourself, you can just go and download the 1.16.1 test server as well. Anyway, that's it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments what you think about all of the features coming in the 1.16.1 update, especially that vehicle outlining. Do you think that this is practically cheating? Do you think that it's making it too easy? Or do you think that it is needed considering how cluttered the game is getting? I personally think that the one that changes the 3D models would have definitely been a great start. But all of this extra stuff, it kind of just feels a little bit cheeky for me. But I'm definitely going to make use of it myself if it goes into the game. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, the community has decided that the Object 430U should be featured. And so come along right now if you want to see arguably the best Soviet medium tank line, which is incredibly new player friendly, and I still recommend it as one of the first medium tank lines that you should go through. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.